RuneScape is a game built around the player killing monsters and picking up their dropped loot. Drops range from a few coins all the way up to the most powerful weapons in the game. I wondered, what if you couldn't pick up anything? How much of the game could you unlock? How many of the quests are even possible? I'm going to find out. This account is restricted to only using items purchased with currencies. No dropped loot, no world spawns. This is shop locked. While I make my way through Tutorial Island, I'll do a rundown of the rules. I can only use items purchased from shops or through dialogue, for example the kebabs in Al-Kharid or drinks at the pub. No picking up drops or world spawns, the only exception being currency drops. During quests, I'm allowed to pick up quest-specific items, for example a ball at the end of Witch's House, to continue that quest. If at any point during a quest it requires an item that exists outside of it that I cannot purchase, that quest is locked. Now what counts as currency? The current list I have is coins, minigame points, Tokkul, Marks of Grace, Stardust, and a few others, but we will get to those when they come up. Now with that out of the way, let's begin. So I decided to start as a hardcore Iron Man because I wanted this to actually be a bit more of a challenge, where I can't just throw myself at obstacles. I want to keep the hardcore status as long as possible, so I want to be strategic and build the account around surviving as best I can. The first goal will be to get some money. At the moment, I can only do that in two ways: killing mobs that drop coins, and pickpocketing. And without any equipment or weapons, killing things are quite dangerous. So I'll start pickpocketing to build up enough money to buy a weapon. While I'm busy pickpocketing, let's have a look at the stores around Lumbridge. We have Bob's Axes, where we can get pickaxe, axe, and some battle axes. There's the Sheared Ram, which you can buy beer from. And lastly, we have the Lumbridge General Store, which sells a variety of items. The most important ones to us are the skilling ones, like the chisel and hammer. Now that I've got some GP, let's head over to Al-Kharid and get ourselves a weapon. So it costs 10 GP to go through the gate until we finish the Prince Ali rescue quest, which I haven't checked, but I don't think will be possible with these rules. So these guards are going to get very rich very quickly. Since it's our first time here, let's take a look at the shops in Al-Kharid. We have the Scimitar Shop, Crafting Store, Al-Kharid General Store, the Plate Leg and Plate Skirt shops, and the Kebab Shop. There are also a few stalls and traders we can buy from. We have the Silk and Gem Stall, and then Ali Morrisane, who will hopefully be very useful in the future. First thing I do is rob this man until I need a kebab break. Once I have enough money, I purchase an iron scimitar and head back over to Lumbridge and realize you need to pay 10 coins both ways. So I test out our new weapon until we have enough. So now that we have a weapon, I'm going to have a look at the quests around us and we'll see what's possible. Let's start with the cook's assistant. The cook needs our help to bake a cake for the Duke of Lumbridge's birthday. He needs an egg, a bucket of milk, and a pot of flour. Both the milk and flour are purchasable from stores at the Grand Tree. The only issue there is the distance we have to run. The problem is the egg. While you can buy it, it only exists in two stores. One being the Culinary-Romancer's chest, which is only accessible once you start the Recipe for Disaster quest, which you can only start once you finish Cook's Assistant, which needs the egg from the chest. Here's me finding that out in real time. I've totally forgotten how to start Recipe for Disaster. I need to finish Cook's Assistant. Okay. So this is where it becomes tricky. The other is from Sigmund the Merchant in Relica, but before you can use his shop, you must complete the Fremnik Trials, which is a quest that we can try to tackle much later on, so for now, we'll have to skip the Cook's Assistant. Next, I look into starting the Sheep Shearer quest. Farmer Fred is asking for 20 balls of wool from us. Normally, you would pick up the shears, shear the sheep for wool, then spin that wool into balls. Since we can't do any of that, we will need to look up where we can buy some balls of wool. Okay, so we need 20 balls of wool, and where we can get those is shop locations. East Ardee, Keldergrim, Darkmire, Apatol, Ulfakenge, Sidious. Okay, so most of these we have no chance of getting to. for a while, except East Ardy. Pretty sure we can just run right there. So this is where Ardy is. There's the shop. We are all the way down here. So that's a big run. So what I might do, before we run back and forth multiple times throughout the whole of Gielinor, let's level up some agility. But for now, let's just have a look around and see what quests we can do. So let's go and chat and see if we can possibly do X marks the spot. Veos is currently on a treasure hunt, but is stuck on what to do next, so he's asked for our help. All we need to do is decipher the clue he's given us and follow the step to the treasure. Finally, a quest that we can do right off the bat. It just needs a spade. I have money. He has spade. We are good to go. The first clue takes us next to Bob's Axes. The second, behind Lumbridge Castle. The third takes us to a new town, Draenor Village, where I get completely distracted and start looking through all the shops. I buy a rope for future quests, some wine as it's very cheap and heals a good amount of health. I then dig up the fourth clue, which gives us the ancient casket. While I'm in Draenor Village, I decide to finally start leveling agility. Higher agility means our run energy recharges faster, allowing us to run for longer. While we level agility, let's have a look at what shops Draenor Village has. At the market, there's Diango's Toy Store, the Draenor Seed Market, and the wine shop. In the town, there's Aggie's house, where you buy dyes, Ned's house, which sells rope, and Sprea's house. She's a Slayer master, so she has a Slayer equipment shop, which has a lot of useful items. I wanted to go more in depth of the rules. When I say I can only use items I buy with currency, that means no using items gained from skilling as well. So for example, I can buy a fishing rod and fish, but anything I catch, I can't then use that to level cooking. And same goes for farming. I can buy seeds, but anything I grow and pick can't then be used. So herb lore is going to be quite tricky. Now I haven't really done any planning. I wanted to jump into this and learn as I go and see what's actually possible. I have a few ideas of how to gain certain experience, like prayer is going to be quite tricky, but I believe there's a couple of ways you can buy prayer using minigame points. And same with herb lore. If I can't pick anything I grow, that means I need to buy herbs directly, and I think there's only a couple of places where that is possible. So a lot of this we'll kind of stumble upon as we go. That's also true for the rules of this. If you look at the wiki and look at the currency tab, there's a lot of different currencies, and quite a few of them don't really feel like they should technically be a currency, so I didn't want to include those into this. We'll see how far the account can go. If there's a point in time very quickly where I get completely stuck, then I might take another look and see what actually does count as a currency on the wiki and use that. But for now, I'm wanting to use my current set rules and see where we go with that. And in terms of talking about where we go, what is the goal of the account? The main goal is just to see how many quests are possible. I would love to be able to get to Prif and do Song of the Elves. That will take quite a while if I have to purchase herbs through maybe tithe farming and doing herb runs that way. But even then, I don't know if it's possible to even do all the quests needed to do Song of the Elves. For now, the main focus is just see what is possible. Later on in the video, I do kind of decide of what the first major goal will be, what that quest is going to be, which should be very possible. So let's get back to it. Oh, random events. Interesting. As with most Snowflake accounts, they all do allow random events, but so here's a great example. I will allow random events, but I cannot pick up anything here. So what I needed to do is have a small fishing net already on me, and then I can do Evil Bob. So right now we have to just skip that one. But that is great for the future. I now need to make sure I have a small fishing net on me all the time, just in case it happens. With some new agility levels, let's head over to Port Sarim and finish off the quest. We give Vayos the ancient casket, and he rewards us with an XP lamp, some coins, a beginner clue scroll box, and the ability to receive scroll boxes. Now, I haven't spoken about clues, and while filming this, I decided to not allow myself to do them and dropped it. My initial thought was that a lot of Snowflake accounts get into this grind of doing clues to get armor and weapon upgrades, which I'm usually not a fan of. But I had a thought while editing. Doing clues will already be hard enough, as a lot of them require items that can't be purchased, so I'm already limiting myself in that way, but I still didn't want to allow myself to use anything received from the clue. So what I'm going to do is allow myself to pick up and do clue scrolls, and if I'm able to complete them, then everything I get from the casket will be sold or out, and the GP will be my reward. After finishing our first quest, I go back and train agility up to level 17. I wanted to get to 20, but I was just too excited to keep playing the account, so I stopped. I then teleported back to Lumbridge to start our next quest, Mistalin Mystery. For Mistalin Mystery, all we need is a bucket, tinderbox, and knife, which are all purchasable from the Lumbridge General Store. This quest also has quite a few items that are needed to be picked up and used throughout the quest, but since these are all quest unique items, we're allowed to use them. We start the quest by talking to Abigail in the Lumbridge Swamp, who is asking for our help after being attacked by an unknown figure on a nearby island. We then witness quite a few deaths, solve some puzzles, and confront the killer to finish our second quest. As our reward, we get 600 crafting XP and an uncut ruby, emerald, and sapphire, which we immediately drop. Next, we head back to Lumbridge and start the Restless Ghost. We chat to Father Eric, telling him we're looking for a quest. He then asks us to get rid of a ghost haunting the nearby graveyard. He suggests we talk to Father Ernie, who's an expert on ghosts. Speaking to Ernie gives us the Ghost Speak amulet that we need to equip to communicate with ghosts. Now, this item is required for multiple quests in the game, and the only way to get it is from Ernie during the Restless Ghost. This item is sort of in the grey area of quest items. As my rules state, I can't use a quest item if there is a way to obtain it outside of the quest. If I were to drop this item after finishing this quest, I can speak to Ernie and he'll give it back to me. But as this completely locks out multiple quests, and the necklace doesn't give you any attack or defense stats, I've decided that for the sake of the account, this item is okay to keep. Back to the quest. With the Ghost Speak amulet equipped, I head over to the graveyard and chat to the ghost. He tells us he's missing his skull and a warlock from the Wizard's Tower stole it. We head over to the tower, climb down a ladder to the basement, and interact with the altar to retrieve the ghost skull. While completely ignoring the skeleton that spawns, we make our way back to the ghost, use his skull on the coffin, and with his newfound freedom, he immediately drowns in the nearby river. This completes the Restless Ghost, which awards us with 1125 per XP, getting us all the way to level 9. And that's where I'll end it for episode 1. But just quickly, let's talk about the first goal of the account. So the first goal will be to complete Dragon Slayer 1. The only requirement to start it is to get 32 quest points. We are currently at 4, so we still have a bit to go before we can try to tackle that one. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. I plan to get these out every week, so please keep an eye out for episode 2.